Hi friend, good morning and welcome back to my channel. Today is Monday and we have a lot going on. I actually have a meeting for my job in person. So I'm very quickly trying to just kind of get prepared for that and get myself a little bit ready before the kiddo wakes up and then we have to travel into town. I'm gonna drop him off with my mom, which we don't do often. So we'll see how that goes, especially now that he's potty trained. I'll take you along with me into downtown because it's such a cute little town. It's such a cute little town. When we first moved here, I was like, this is Stars Hollow. Pretty sure we live in Stars Hollow. And meeting my boss at a coffee shop, so I'll take you along with us on that. And then just a bunch of odds and ends. Do I talk about this now? I'm gonna talk about this now. I don't know if I mentioned this here on the vlog. I think that I did. Back in October, I challenged myself to write a manuscript in 30 days. Usually you do that in November, NaNoWriMo. I didn't do it in November because I had too much going on in that month, and I was like, I'm just gonna get the first draft done in October. And about halfway through the month, about halfway through the manuscript, I got riddled with fear and I stopped everything. I stopped posting on TikTok. I was posting literally every single day and had been posting every single day since February. Stopped posting on TikTok, stopped doing these vlogs, stopped writing. And I really don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. There was no specific moment or anything. Like, it wasn't like I read a bad review or someone said something to me. That's not at all what happened. It was all in my head. And I've picked up the manuscript here and there since then, but I'm on deadline now. So it's time for me to kind of get all of that back on track. And to be honest, I miss writing. I've been blogging and that took some time to kind of get that back up and moving, but I'm sure if you've been a writer or are a writer, blogging and fiction writing are very different from one another, obviously. And I'm just kind of ready to get back into it. And I think the only way that I'm going to get back into it is just to kind of rip the Band-Aid off. And a lot of times, I'm not a pantser, but I'm also not a planner. I'm somewhere in between. So I need to kind of get on the balance beam and like just start kind of walking one way or the other and see where it feels balanced. And so I'll take you along for that today. If you don't mind, if you have any interest in knowing what it's like to try to set up a novel writing project, I have additional steps, which it seems to be the case always, because it happened with Yeah Maybe, it happened with Not So Much, now it's happening with this one, which if you don't know anything about this manuscript, this is the third book in the Yeah Maybe series, and it's the final book in this series. It's releasing on February 14th next year, so 2025, and we've got work to do. I've got the editor booked, I've got the audiobook narrator booked, so it's time. It's time to get this project done and over to all of those people. So yeah, in the meantime, I'm gonna very quickly try to get myself prepared for this meeting that I'm going to, which for my job, this is probably not interesting, but I'm currently working on a website relaunch project and we're like this close to being done, which involves a lot of like fine tuning and like combing through the site and making sure that everything is kind of like where we want it before we send it over to the board for approval. So that's what we're working on today, and I will take you along. I figure if we're on a getting things in order and back on track train, I might as well start trying to get my life back on order. I don't know if it's having done potty training the last week or so that like there were so many things that just kind of like didn't get done the way I normally do them. And so I tried a little bit over the weekend to kind of get things in order, but we're gonna have to kind of carry some of that into today. So first things up is I'm going to empty the dishwasher and get all the dishes kind of sorted out. and work on a bit of laundry today and get my Roomba back operating. I have a very hungry golden retriever right here who still has a half hour before breakfast, sir. Not breakfast time. It's not. In. Go. Heck no, I'm playing with a kid. Highway. You want to go to Grandma's house? Yeah. Okay. I'm very quickly making a latte before we get going. Are we going to a coffee shop? Yes, yes we are. What's wrong? Yeah. Dad had to go to work, baby. I'm making myself a s'mores latte to bring with me in my cool little cup that I'm obsessed with. I am actually going to do, whoopsies. I'm not very skilled in this, but I'm gonna do a little outfit of the day because I actually got like fully dressed. These pants, which are like super flimsy, are from the TikTok shop because I am trying to be cool. Jury's still out on that, but that's okay. They're actually super comfortable. They're very long. I've mentioned in vlogs before, I'm very, very short. So finding anything that is the right length on me is really hard. But this top is actually a top I bought from Target for that same Monica costume I mentioned in my last vlog. So it's old. And then this jacket is also from Target, also old, but I'll see if I can find any of these things to link below. And my shoes are just the Adidas. Can you see my shoes? Can I balance? Wow, okay, my balance is still there. My core strength is not, my balance semi there. But they're just like the rose gold pink Adidas tennis shoes that my husband got me for Christmas last year. Not last year, the year before last. And they're actually a kid's size. So we are all set. We are gonna go. We're gonna go. We're gonna go to Grandma's so he can go hang out with her while I go to a meeting. Whoopsies, are you okay? Yeah. Okay. We good to go? Yeah, don't let Open get your pee. I don't want Open to get pee. Done what is arguably the worst thing a parent could do, which is I made the mistake of telling my child what we could potentially do this afternoon. It was used in a bribery sense. It was necessary. I had to get him in the car after leaving my mother's house. I have regrets about it though, because we're now home. It is time for him to take a rest, and I don't know if you can hear him. I can hear him. He's been in his room for about 15 minutes, and all he's doing is chanting, "Big sand, big sand, big sand," over and over and over again. Because I made the mistake of telling him that after rest, we would go to the lake, which is where the big sand is with the water. And really need him to nap. One, I need a chance to throw some food down my throat. And I also have a project that's on deadline that I was hoping to utilize nap time to make happen. So let's both pray that he will actually close his eyes and go to sleep. I did explain to him, I was like, listen, we will go to the big sand. We will go to big sand. I need you to lay down, get your Pete, which is his little cat, and close your eyes for a few minutes. And so he literally goes, okay, all done. I'm like, oh my God, I've made a mistake. I have made mistakes. I have regrets. Why did I do it? Why did I do that? Am I eating my kids' potty training candy? I am. Because it just took him over an hour to go down for a nap. And so I'm eating his potty training candy. We actually didn't really use candy, which I'm glad we didn't because I feel like it would have turned into a huge issue. I did on day 3 start offering him a little bit of candy when he would go poop in the potty because we were having some issues with that. And I think I gave him candy for like 3 or 4 poops
across a couple days, and then we just stopped offering it and he stopped asking, so it was fine. But I am now trying to very quickly get this project over for deadline. And then if I have time, depending on how long now my kid sleeps, we'll dig into the manuscript and start plotting out what that's gonna look like to finish that project. Also, I thought you would find it interesting. So my cat is the most patient animal on the planet. I don't know if he knows he's a cat. He's never attacked anyone. He doesn't bite, he doesn't scratch, he doesn't do any of those things. But he's about 27 pounds, and yes, he's a large cat. The other morning when I was doing my video for Monday, he was sitting in my lap, fell asleep and lost his balance and like panicked, and so he like just reached out to grab anything to hold himself up. He got my leg. See that? Let me see if I can get this focused. I mean, it's more of a bruise than anything. Like, it didn't really, well, it's kind of a bruise, kind of a scratch. But that's what happens when a 27-pound cat hangs from your leg, in case you were wondering. Okay, so I am making, I guess it would be like a TikTok hack ramen. I learned this recipe last year. I will share it in the description below. It is so delicious. It's probably not very good for you, but it's very yummy. And it's an excellent, like, oh crap, I don't feel like making dinner recipe, because I use it with, well, you can use it with like leftover meat. So we have like leftover chicken from last night that I barbecued. Do people say barbecue anymore? I grilled on the grill. But tonight I'm just using shrimpies. And these are honestly like the frozen shrimp that, I think I got them from Walmart. I think they're like $5 a bag. And they've stayed $5 a bag, which is remarkable because nothing has stayed the same price these days. But the sauce is from TikTok, and so I'll put the description below. But it's on me.
Did you just pour this milk?
Poured that milk this morning. I'm also gonna throw some mushrooms in there because why not? But I'll wait a little bit. So anyway, I had enough time while Wade was sleeping to get my deadline work done, which was great because he literally woke up just as I was submitting it. And then he and I went to the lake, and it was lovely. And this is hard, this season of life. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, there are a lot of things about doing what we're doing that's really difficult. But as he's gotten older, there are also certain things that get a lot easier too. And if you would have told me last year that I would be able to go and like lay a towel down on the beach and just sit there and watch my kid play in the sand, I probably wouldn't have believed you, and I probably would have wept tears of like relief, because this is a child that never stops moving. And it was such a lovely afternoon. Anyway, all of that to tell you, I did get my work done. I am going to sit at the kitchen table, eat this ramen, and take a look at the manuscript. And so like I said, I would bring you along with that. And then that's probably gonna be it for this vlog, because your girl's tired. It's only 6:45, but let's be real. I wake up at the butt crack of dawn and I go to bed when my son goes to bed, and I'm not mad about it, so. I gotta know if any other stay-at-home moms experience this, that it doesn't matter what I think I'm gonna do in the afternoons or in the evenings. Does not matter. I can have the biggest plans in the world. I could want to clean my entire house. I can think I'm gonna have the energy to do all of those things. But for some reason, the second my husband takes that child and brings him into his bedroom and they all say, "Good night, Mom," my entire body just like starts to power down. It's like a physical exhaustion. And I only have one child, so I don't know how you guys are doing it if you have multiple children. My God, you must be superheroes. I'm so tired. I mean, I know that I'm also like working and keeping him home, but like, please, come on. Multiple children? Couldn't imagine. Don't know how you're doing it. I hope you're okay. Are you okay? Because it is 7:34. Am I okay? It's 7:34 And I have every intention to like get stuff done. All I want to do is go to bed. I mean, obviously I'm in bed, but like, this is where I choose to lounge whenever I'm not like wrangling a human because, well, honestly, it's because of the heating pad. I want to be on the heating pad. That's why. Could the heating pad move? Yeah, it could. Am I too lazy to move it? Also, yeah. But anyway, I am sat here. I do have my computer. And I did get a little bit of like not plotting, because I'm not really a plotter. I use Scrivener. I've told you guys that before. Not so much was the first manuscript I did fully in Scrivener. And honestly, when it came time to do like the editing and all that kind of stuff, I moved everything over to Word. You're not going to believe this, but I think I've lost my entire work in progress. Where is it? As I'm sitting here telling you about Scrivener. Sorry, I'm like literally holding my breath. Okay. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Somehow or another, I had 2 Scrivener files saved on my computer under the title of this novel. The second one I opened is the correct one. And the reason I'm like, is because I am, oh, that's weird. This last chapter I got to 1,111 words. I'm telling you, numbers are following me everywhere. Oh, that's disappointing. Because I did finish. You know what? Let this be your official. Don't use Scrivener. I don't know what's going on, but this is not the most recent version of this file, and that's disappointing. That's really disappointing. Anyway, basically the way Scrivener is mapped out is I have like the acts with the chapters in them, the outline, and then the cool thing is like you can have like character files, setting files, notes, etc., etc. So that's like the selling point, I guess, for a writer is that you have everything in one place, which in theory works. Yes. I don't use it like that. I use it to write and basically only to write. So really I could just keep everything in Word documents because I use a combination of Evernote, Asana, which is a project management software, and Scribble, which is like a whiteboard note type thing. I guess the thing would be like most like would be like Notion. But anyway, all of that drama aside, you didn't ask what software I use, but that's what I use. You could really just use Word documents and a notebook, or like Word documents and Google Docs to like house your information. Whatever works for you. I'm a big advocate for using what you have when you have it, because I think a lot of us tend to delay getting started thinking that we need to have certain things or we need to be able to afford certain things before we can actually do the thing. You don't need anything to be a writer. You don't need anything. Heck, people literally used to write with like pen and paper. You don't need anything. I've told this story before, but when I was reworking, I'm not sick. By the way, I don't think I'm sick. We were outside most of today, and if you live in North Carolina, then you know. But when I was reworking, yeah, maybe. I was working on a computer that was 7 years old and would crash randomly at any given time. And I used a flash drive that was always plugged into my computer, and I have a Mac, and so I had the Command S, like, what is that? Like keystroke, the Command S keystroke. I was using that so often that it looked like I had a nervous tick, which it was a nervous tick because I was terrified of losing everything, because there's nothing like putting in work on something and then having to redo it again, which is clearly what I'm going to have to do right now because I took this chapter to a different place the last time I logged in here and it's gone. So that's really annoying. But you don't need anything. Don't let anyone tell you that you do. You don't need anything fancy. You don't. I mean, when it comes time to like getting a cover and editing and all that, that's where you need to invest. You don't have to invest in like fancy gear. But again, I'm just one writer and one writer doing it my way. There are hundreds of writers out there that are doing it very differently. So if what I do doesn't work for you, that's also totally fine. But anyway, again, all of that to say, initially when I started working on this project, I was going to write the entire manuscript in 30 days. I got to, okay, so my goal, and a draft is about 50,000 words. That's actually not true. Like every one of my novels, all 2 of my novels have been significantly more than 50,000 words, but that's a really good, like, okay, we've got the bones of the story. Now let's go in and like rip it to shreds and add things in and pull things out. So when I quit, I got to 24,412 words. So let's think about some deadlines. That's the other cool thing about Scrivener is that it has like, I can show you. My hand there, because I don't know that I've released the title of this yet, and I'm not sure that I'm ready to, but this is something that Scrivener does is you have like manuscript targets. And so you can have targets for the entire manuscript, like a deadline for that, but then also like a certain word count per manuscript or per session. And the cool thing is when you manipulate your deadline, so like my old deadline on this is obviously expired. I think I'm going to make the deadline my birthday, which is June 8th, which hopefully I'll get it done before then. Honestly, I'd like to be able to send it to my sister. I need to get better at this. I'm gonna make the deadline my birthday. Honestly, I think I'll be done with it before then. I would preferably like to get it to my sister, who's my editor, by then. And I think I can make that happen. What is it, May? So it gives me a month. I only have 25,000 words left to get to actually, that's a lie. I think I can make that happen. I think I can have the initial draft done by June 8th. Why am I getting too ahead of myself? Let's not get too ahead of myself. Draft deadline, June 8th. I have my editor and the audiobook narrators already booked. So why I'm trying to go ahead and like get ahead of that even now. This is what I do to myself though. This is what I do. And I'm so curious if anyone else is like this. Where like what I've laid out, I somehow then decide like that's not good enough. I need to like beat that deadline. And then I end up like working myself into the ground. Or I do what I did last time, which is like when I'm working that hard, somehow or another, like the doubt creeps in and then I shut everything down. I need that self-sabotage. That's what that is it's like when you keep repeating old habits, old behaviors that you know are going to fail you. That's self-sabotage. Why do I keep doing that to myself? Deadline for the draft, June 8th. That I can make happen. What we do from there, we will talk about that when we get there. I know that I can have this draft done by June 8th, so I'm going to go ahead and set that, okay? So that means options. Okay, so that means that every day between now and June 8th, I need to write 624 words. Obviously, I'm not going to be writing every single day. That's just not realistic with the way that my life looks right now. So that target will adjust when I get ahead of that session goal and when I get behind on that session goal. So if I miss a day or if I have a day where I write 1,200 words instead, like it'll adjust accordingly. So I do think that I can make that happen. I feel good having that deadline in there. I will have to like kind of look at my schedule and see where this fits in. Which is a shame because technically, honestly, this should always be my number one priority. And right now it's not. And I need to figure out how to maneuver things to make that so. Which that's just going to take some like journaling, I think. But yeah, I feel good about that. I'm excited about that. God, I don't love anything like I love writing. I don't love anything like I love writing. I really am excited to be back. And I, again, am just so grateful really to all of you for getting me back here, because if it weren't for what happened on TikTok last year, I don't know that I would have let myself ever write again. And so I really have all of you to thank for that. So thank you. And I think that's going to be it for me today. I realize this is a very strange way to end a vlog, but I've got all this done. I'm happy with it. And I frankly am just plumb exhausted. I'm plumb exhausted. It probably doesn't help that we were in the sun all afternoon and like in the direct sun all afternoon, but you know that kind of like tired when you've been like out at the beach or you've been on a boat all day. But yeah, anyway, that's gonna do it for me today. Thank you guys again for like being here. Stick around because the next several vlogs are going to be pretty author heavy because I have my first event coming up and some other things happening that I'm going to start letting you guys in on like the behind the scenes of all that kind of stuff. I've told you before, for some reason, I feel very odd, very strange telling people I'm an author, sharing that I'm an author, and we're getting over that fear with you, if that's okay. I feel like you guys are my test audience and the place that I can practice showing up. It's so weird to say that because like I do show up as an author in some capacities and I have for a long time, but I've never like fully embodied what being an author means. And so we're going to start doing that because I think, and this is interesting, I was having this conversation with my boss earlier, that like I do marketing. Marketing is my background. That is when I tell you that like I'm doing work, I work in digital marketing. I can market the heck out of anybody else's stuff, but for some reason my own stuff, I can't. It's like it's just a complete dead zone. I cannot make it happen. And I was telling her that like to me that's the hard part. And she was like, I don't know. I feel like the hard part would be writing the book, and that to me is the easy part. And I did have another friend ask if I would ever like outsource that, and the answer to that is absolutely. So if that's something that you're interested in getting into, or you're already into it and you're potentially looking to take on new clients soon, I'm not there quite yet, but it is my goal that by Q4 I'll be ready to kind of like take on some, I won't say employees because I definitely won't be there yet, but like contractors. I could do contractors by Q4. So stick around with me if that's something you might want to get involved with me. That would be awesome. Go ahead and like send me an email if that's something you're interested in, and I'd like to at least go ahead and get talking, because who knows, maybe I'll have a really profitable summer and I'll be ready sooner than I think I am. So anyway, thanks again for being here, and I will see you guys again very, very soon. Bye.